So, lads, we have to talk about it. And I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest here. I think the Fever are getting very close to having to choose. I think the Fever are getting very, very close to having to make a choice. And that is, like, do they want to choose Stephanie White or do they want to choose Caitlin Clark? I think it's as simple as that. I think it is as simple as that. They got to make a choice whether they want Caitlin Clark or whether they want Stephanie White. Because it's very clear, like, it's not working out. And everyone wants to complain about, Stephanie White. It's Caitlin Clark needs to adapt to Stephanie White. Like, lads, the Indiana Fever were better this time last year. They had Katie Lou Samuelson. Katie Lou Samuelson was either starting or their first sub off the bench. Dantas was injured. Nalissa Smith was a starter. Christy Wallace was a starter. Lexi Hull was getting DNPs. And they were still running teams out of the gym. At this stage last year, they were still out there running teams out of the gym. And look, it is, and like even looking at Caitlin Clark's reaction here, like she's pissed as well. She's pissed as well as to just the way they're playing. Like, just take a listen here. You can see by her body language here.
Steph has talked about kind of taking some pressure off you with Aerie kind of running point in some actions and you playing off the ball. Just how do you think that will help when you reintegrate onto the court?
Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice probably not to have to bring the ball up against pressure 94 feet. But like I said, like...
She won't even look. Like, this is Caitlin Clark who constantly looks towards the camera. If you look, she will always look towards the camera. She's not even looking at anybody. She's looking down and she's looking up and away. Like, she's pissed. Like, she's not happy. And look, you got to make a choice. And I understand there's more basketball choices than this. There is, like, you've got to make basketball choices. When it comes to, like, this, like, there's more basketball, and I'm still going to talk about it like it's a basketball decision, because at the end of the day, this does come down to basketball more than it comes down to anything else. Like, you're not going to keep a player, you're not going to go and keep a player on your team as a mascot. And I think the only reason why you would stick to Stephanie White's system and keep Caitlin Clark on your team is if you think she's a mascot. Like, treating her like she's a mascot. Because let's be real. It's not beneficial on the court for you guys to keep this up. It's not. And this is not me going out there and saying, oh, the Fever are better without Caitlin Clark, because they're not. The Fever without Caitlin Clark in Stephanie White's system are a 500 team that are going to suck. The Fever with Caitlin Clark in Stephanie White's system are a 500 team who aren't going to do anything in the playoffs. She's a net neutral in their current system. Caitlin is absolutely a net neutral. Because there's one thing with playing Caitlin Clark off the ball, and I'm just going to show you guys this. You guys are going to see the great paint. The great paint online. You guys have seen it plenty of times here. What we're going to do is we are going to draw. We're going to draw up the Indiana Fever's off the ball offense. So we've got that is really badly drawn there. Screw it. Let's get the key in there. Way too much space here. But this is the Indiana Fever's off. This is what Caitlin Clark playing off the ball is. Is there any back cuts? No, because you have got one of Aaliyah Boston here, but they don't respect her three-point shot, so her defensive players here. Natasha Howard in this scenario is probably, she should be down here, but she's probably somewhere like here, getting in the way, brings another defender here, which means that Caitlin is here, ball is in, let's just say Hull is Kelsey screen down, Lexi's come up here and had the ball. This is literally their offense. Caitlin has screened for somebody off the ball, has kind of screened down, and they've kind of cut through and gone to the other side. So Caitlin will come and screen. They're down the other side. Something's happened, whether it's Lexi or Kelsey Mitchell, comes up into this position. I just realized I'm a little bit... you can't really see. So Lexi Hall's kind of in this position here. And the ball's on this side of the floor. So then Aaliyah sets a screen here for Caitlin to curl to here. Or on the other side, which has Lexi's defender here, Natasha Howard's defender here, Aaliyah's defender here. So it sends her into a drive on 3 defenders. With Natasha Howard getting in the way. Like that's literally, that's all they do. That is their off-the-ball motion offense. Like last year, I'm like, they just run constant quick hitters. I would take running constant quick hitters over this crap. I really would. Stephanie White's offense is this everybody eats offense. And the problem is you've got the offense stops here, Mitchell. The offense stops here, Howard. Like every time Howard gets in the way a lot of the time. There's just sometimes she scores enough that it's all good. She scores enough that it's all good. But it's clear that, like, Natasha Howard has been, she's being prioritized. The offense is being prioritized to get everybody looks rather than keep the ball in Caitlin's hands. And the thing is, Caitlin's unselfish. She'll find players. But the ball needs to be in her hands. Like, this team does not have enough smart decision makers. And by the way, if this team had Nafisa Collier, if this team had, if this team had Angel Reese, we'd be having a different conversation here. If this team had another competent passer other than Leah Boston, there are 2 competent passers on this team. 2.5 if you count Sophie Cunningham. There are 2.5 competent passers on this team. So it just doesn't work. When you have, I said this coming into the year, and I'm like, I've said this earlier as well. It's like when you have a lot of, no offense to them, no offense to Lexi. There's no offense meant to Lexi Hull. No offense to Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell's a really good backdoor cutter, but she can't get backdoor cuts because Natasha Howard's clogging the paint. Even Alyssa Smith was better at spreading the floor than Natasha Howard. I can't believe it. Natasha Howard is better than Alyssa Smith, by the way. But like Kelsey Mitchell has turned into a tough shot maker. And in her defense, she is good. She is a tough shot maker. She's been a tough shot maker. She's been a tough shot maker a lot of her career. And like Kelsey Mitchell's good at that. But we literally just watched a season of Kelsey Mitchell having her best year of her career. Her most efficient year because she just constantly was taking easy shots. This team doesn't generate easy shots anymore. They don't generate easy shots. Unless it's an open 3 for someone that the other team wants shooting a 3. Like, the other teams want Dari McDonald to shoot 3s. They're going to live with Sophie Cunningham shooting 3s because she's not shooting well. Outside of bad shooters shooting 3s, this team, this team is just not... This team's just not able to generate good looks anymore because they're just cramping the key. They're clogging up the lanes. Like, people don't understand. Caitlin Clark was the best rim finisher in the WNBA last year. Caitlin has not had an open layup. She has not had an open layup in a while. Like, I understand you might be saying, oh, she blew a few of them. She blew through contact floaters from outside the key. Like, she blew an up and under because she couldn't get a layup on a fast break where she went 1-on-5 and there were 4. She got a rebound, went 1-on-5, and nobody was up running with her except for KK Timpson. Nobody runs with her. Nobody runs with her anymore. Kelsey Mitchell used to run with her. Caitlin used to find Kelsey Mitchell. Caitlin doesn't find Kelsey Mitchell anymore. Like, Caitlin doesn't find... Like, KK Timpson actually at least ran with her. But she doesn't find these players anymore because they don't run with her anymore. They don't run with her. And that's a problem. Like, that is a big, big issue with this team. And you've got to make a choice. You have to make a choice. Either you are going and playing through Caitlin, or you're going and playing through with Stephanie White's system. Because if you want to play Stephanie White's system, you can trade Caitlin for somebody that fits much better. You better believe if you go to the Phoenix Mercury and you offer Caitlin Clark for Alyssa Thomas, find a way to make contracts work. Alyssa Thomas, like, Phoenix are saying yes. You could get Alyssa Thomas and their next 3 first-round picks for Caitlin Clark. They trade their whole damn team for Caitlin Clark. Like, if you went to the Aces, you could get Jackie Young. And again, you could get Jackie Young and multiple first-round picks for Caitlin Clark. If you went to the Liberty, you could get Sabrina Ionescu and a first for Caitlin Clark. You could literally, and Sabrina doesn't fit this team either, but you can find so many players that fit. You could trade Caitlin Clark and Tasha Howard, and you could get Alyssa Thomas and Kalia Coppery from the Mercury. You could, and that gives this team a million times better chance of winning in this current system. I mean, we have to agree. It's not saying Caitlin's a negative. It's saying that Caitlin is a net neutral in this system. And Caitlin Clark playing in the Phoenix Mercury system makes Phoenix Mercury contenders for the foreseeable. Caitlin Clark with a coach that wants to run. With a coach that wants to run and is allowing her to run and players that want to run beside her. As we've seen, she made a team with Katie Lou Samuelson and Christy Wallace starting look competent last year. This team can be unstoppable. This team can be absolutely unstoppable. However, the way they're playing right now, they're not only stoppable, they're not good. They're not good. That's all I'm going to say. But anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys.